It's a day in which, I don't know about you, I'm a little melancholy. Because as much as the Giants and the Jets have driven us nuts over the past 17 weeks, I'm going to miss those bastards. And after Sunday, we will not watch them play football games that matter until September. But I got to warn Tiki about something. Tiki is in New Orleans right now, which means this morning, early afternoon, he wasn't with us. He wasn't in our office. He wasn't chatting with us. And I really, really miss him. Not because you're just a good guy, which you are. I miss you because our boy Sean has lost his freaking mind.
I was going to say, what the hell happened?
Here's what happened while you're away in New Orleans drinking hurricanes. This guy told me, and he's about to tell the entire state and city of New York and everyone listening nationally on the Odyssey app, he tried to convince me that Brian Daboll, the fine head coach of the New York Football Giants, will probably try to tank the final game of the year against the Philadelphia Eagles and has already tanked without us realizing against the Los Angeles Rams 1 week ago. He believes that Brian Daboll has very quietly, very secretly been purposely trying to lose games because Brian Daboll agrees with Sean Morash and agrees with some Giant fans that they're better off losing games so they can draft higher.
And what exactly is the evidence that Brian Daboll is not trying to win football games and the only thing he wants to do is get a higher draft pick? Draft that quarterback so he can finally start his own way of winning in New York. What the hell are you talking about, Sean?
I'm glad you asked about evidence, Tiki, because it's something I've been sitting on all week, and it took me talking to a couple other Giant fans to make sure I wasn't crazy. I'm not going to name names, but multiple, including Tommy Lugauer next to me, all had the same theory, although none of us had discussed it. The end of that Giant-Ram game was awfully peculiar. And remember, the Giants were already eliminated from postseason contention, so I'm not suggesting Daboll at any point when I was talking tank, was thinking tank anyway. But now here we are in the final 2 weeks. Tiki, Evan.
Yeah?
The Rams lead 26-25 in this game, okay? It's late. They force the Rams to punt because Wink Martindale's defense is cooking. And the Giants get the ball back. And what do the Giants do? First down, short little throw to Saquon Barkley, shockingly incomplete. Second play, this is what made Daboll sweat. Tyrod Taylor takes off for 34 yards. Now suddenly the Giants are knocking on the door or something. The play calling then from that point forward, Kafka, Daboll in collaboration, becomes awfully peculiar. Tyrod Taylor has to spike the ball with 42 seconds left. The Giants are at the Rams' 34-yard line, making it, at that moment, a 52-yard field goal. If you go back to Mason Crosby's career, as I have, since 2016, Mason Crosby has missed 10 field goals of 50 or more yards and only made 26, closing in on a 50% rate. In fact, it's why many people in Green Bay speculated the only reason Mason Crosby was still the kicker in Green Bay the last couple of years is because he does Thanksgiving dinner with Aaron Rodgers and they were best friends. Even that was the one move the Jets couldn't get Aaron Rodgers to convince him to do was take Mason Crosby. Mason Crosby, not his fault, veteran, great kicker for a long term. He lost all his range. Daboll knows that. It's why when they brought him in for a workout earlier in the year, they preferred Randy Bullock. So in this moment, you would think 52 yards, that's not enough. So what does Brian Daboll do? Instead of putting the ball in the hands of Tyrod Taylor, he hands it to Saquon with nobody blocking for -2 yards. And the next play is Tyrod Taylor throwing it in the dirt to spike the ball and stop the clock, setting up a 54-yard field goal.
No, that's not true. A timeout was used by Sean McVay.
Sure.
And then on a third and long,
he throws it in the dirt.
He threw an incomplete pass to Wan'Dale Robinson. You think Tyrod Taylor purposely threw it in the dirt?
I think the play was designed in a way that they knew that was not going to be complete. And if you actually went back,
Sean,
Tiki,
you were reaching,
Tiki,
dude.
go back and rewatch it because you know what? I thought I was crazy until the guy next to me, Tommy, thought I was crazy. And I will tell you, there are other people that actually work for this company that are also Giant fans that I was talking to last night. Went, by the way, did you catch the end of? He was definitely trying to lose the game. And I went, I can't believe you just said that. And yet we've spent a week on this radio station. Nobody brought it up. This is not Doug Peterson going to Nate Sudfeld type tanking. But I think Brian Daboll, very smartly, in collaboration with the general manager, Joe Shane, understand what it will take for long-term job security. And for Brian Daboll to keep a job here long term, they're going to need to generate success and generate results. And that success isn't turning a 5-win season into a 6-win season. It's turning this team into finding a franchise quarterback. And I think we have evidence last week that, hey, if they happen to win, they win. But if it gets tight enough, I'm going to make sure some things happen here to put it in God's hands. And I think we're going to see more of that this week versus the Eagles.
Here is my problem with your theory, Sean, is that in order for something like that to happen, it had to be premeditated. So they would have had to have talked about this. This is the initiation of a conspiracy theory. When you have conspiracy theories, it's not just one person. It's not a conspiracy if it's just one person. That's just someone going rogue. In order for this to have happened, Brian Daboll and Joe Shane and probably John Mara, and maybe Tim McDonald, like all those guys that are up in the front office making decisions about what's going to happen in the draft would have to have been complicit in order to make this happen. And there's no way that actually went down that way. There's absolutely no way. That was circumstances of maybe bad play calling.
Yes.
But definitely not a conspiracy to lose games so they get a better draft pick. You got to be out of your mind, Sean.
Well, why, Tiki, then, when they had a chance to tie the game, did they go for 2 and go for the lead?
Perfect. Well, let me stop you right there. Because me and Tiki, we're like a tag team today. Because we're on the same freaking side.
On, baby.
So if you don't mind, Tiki, I tag myself in. I'm going to tag myself out in a minute.
Go ahead.
They went for 2 with 3.5 minutes to go. And if not for Tyrod Taylor, who there's no way in the world is tanking anything, he would never be a part of a plan like this. He had an open Saquon Barkley, and he missed him. Yeah. It's one of the biggest takeaways from this game that it was right there for the New York Giants to go up 27-26, and Tyrod Taylor missed him. And not only that, on that drive you just cited, the final drive of the game, it started with what you called an incomplete pass. It was a drop by Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Now, I love Saquon Barkley. I think we all do. He done effed up. He made a bad play.
And if he catches the ball and gets tackled in bounds, it's a disaster. He's supposed to spike the ball.
But that's not the point. There's
the play call.
Bad execution is what led to that. They should have been up 27-26. That 2-point conversion should have worked. The play call worked.
And you know why it didn't?
Why didn't it?
I'm glad you walked right into my trap.
Why didn't it work?
Because like we've seen all year from Tyrod Taylor and like the coaches have seen on the film, sorry, Tyrod Taylor, you're not very good at those short touch passes.
Oh, so they knew he was going to miss.
Come on.
I think they put it this way. What has a better chance of happening? Hitting an extra point of Tyrod Taylor screwing up in short yardage again like he's done all season long. Again, if he makes it, he converts it. I don't think Brian Daboll's upset that they win the game and it worked because then he looks like smart, looks like a genius. But I think that now that they are eliminated, Brian Daboll last week coached where if we win, we win. But I'm going to do some kooky things here. And if we lose, it's not the worst thing in the world. So if that's not labeled tanking, I don't know, whatever. But that's the style of coaching Daboll went with at the end of the Ram game. And I think we're going to see more of that if this game is tight on Sunday.
Okay, so what you're saying now is very different than what you said 3 minutes ago. If playing aggressive to lose and not to win, you're playing aggressive to win because you have nothing to lose, right? Honestly, I believe that's what Coach Daboll did last weekend. It was, we're going to play aggressive. If we get an opportunity to go for 2 or do some things that we don't traditionally do, if this game meant more than it actually did, then we wouldn't do those things. But they have nothing to lose. So why not be aggressive? Why not try to go for 2? Why not try to find whatever little advantage and put your guys in positions to test them and test, your Mike Kafka and his game planning in those situations. Very rarely do you get those perfect situations to play those things. Now, when the game doesn't matter, you can do that. But that's not intentionally saying I'm trying to lose. I think he's saying I'm trying to win and do it in an aggressive way.
So call this what you want, Tiki, because I get the idea of you're eliminated. Hey, do whatever you can. Let's get nuts. Let's get crazy. Which is we're kind of saying the same thing. If you're going to deliberately,
yes, no, we're not, because playing aggressive to win is not playing aggressive. And if you don't win, you're fine with losing.
But then why would you not coach that way in September and October then?
Because the games mean something in September and October.
Well, there you
right?
go.
No. You're still in it, right? You still have a chance. And by the way, A lot of coaches do coach that way, and it worked for them. But the only reason it works is because they've done it, right? In their minds, they know how to in those situations make those really hard decisions and with confidence, and therefore execute, right? It's just I think you're positioning this as Coach Dabes is okay with losing, and I know that's not a fact.
Well, if he wasn't okay with losing, then he would coach like that all the time. In theory, he must be at least somewhat okay with losing if he's going to change that style and go, we're eliminated, who cares, let's go crazy.
I think being okay with losing and playing to lose, coaching to lose, are very different things.
Okay.
And that's where you're getting me, because he wants to win. There's no doubt about it. It's the only thing that matters.
I will call it like this, Tiki. If he truly wants to win, and everything you saw Sunday tells me he truly wants to win, then maybe he's not the right head coach.
Oh, stop.
No. Hold on, because I think he's the right. I think he's the right head coach, because we're going away from my initial point. Mason Crosby cannot connect field goals at his age of 50 or more yards. We have evidence.
Sean.
And he coached to make sure that field goal wasn't inside 50 yards.
Criticizing that final few plays is far different than saying he did it purposely to lose. And I'll tell you another reason. I'm not sure, Tiki, you're going to fully agree with what I'm about to say. But there's another reason why what you're saying, Sean, is lunacy. And I'm going to use yourself as a comparison.
Sure.
Okay, the architect who runs everything around here, he likes you. He gave you a contract. You have a contract that extends until what? Next year, something like that?
I mean, do you want to share?
I'm asking you. Is it next year? Whatever the hell your contract.
I got a 2.5-year deal. All right.
Okay, so you've got a contract.
Oh, you have more job security than me.
What does that say, Teak? Better start following my theories.
But as much job security as you think you have, would you have the confidence to come on the radio and purposely lose and purposely tank and purposely have rating points go down? Well, I'm doing it because by having a worse rating, I get, I don't know, a bigger bonus for the spring book or whatever you want to come up with. No, because there's a chance the architect's going to say, you know what? It ain't that good. I'm getting rid of you. Now, I don't think it's likely, Tiki, that John Mara is waking up on Monday and firing Brian Daboll. But Brian Daboll, and I like him, and I believe in him, has not done enough to have the self-confidence to purposely lose games and think that the owner of the team is going to be good with it. Yes. And I think that's the comparison I would make to you.
That's a good way to put it, Evan, because that would be like Bill Belichick in year 6 or 8 after a couple of Super Bowl wins. Like, yeah, you know what? Tom Brady's hurt. We need a better draft pick. He could get away with it. Brian Daboll's not getting away with that in year 2. You're right, Ev.
But if you do it in a way in which I'm suggesting it happened where, well, I mean, think about it. You guys don't agree. I'm sure there's callers that don't agree, but there's plenty of people I talked to that looked at it and said, that seemed a little weird that he coached that way. If you do it, it's a threading of the needle. Hey, we win. I look great as a coach. We win. We lose. Deep down, me and the general manager kind of know that's probably best right now.
So basically, Brian Daboll pulled an Aaron Rodgers. He left it up to interpretation.
Yes. The master manipulator in the play calls.
And so Sunday afternoon against the Philadelphia Eagles, is the same thing going to happen?
Yes. I mean, again, the game dictates, right? He's not going to go down and lay down the swords in the first quarter. But if the Eagles have a slight lead with 2 minutes left, do I think certain plays might be designed certain ways where, hey, let's not make it easy on ourselves? I think so, sure, because I just saw it on Sunday.
Did you not sleep well last night?
Oh, I slept great, baby.
Right?
He is so convinced himself that the Giants need to lose because he wants them to lose.
Yes.
And we had that discussion yesterday.
Yes, he's trying to convince himself in any way possible that Dabes is on his
Right.
side.
Yes, he's trying to convince himself because he felt dirty as a fan yesterday going to sleep after we had this tanking discussion. Hey, the coach agrees with me.
If you get to the point where you got 3 or 4 people you talk to that you trust as good football minds, that all, without knowing you have the same theory,
Who are good football minds that are
Right,
agreeing
one of
with
them
you?
can't be Loogie, by the way.
Yeah,
Why
Louis
can't it be me?
disqualified.
Yeah, why am I
He's a good football mind.
disqualified?
He's a good fan.
Because I think it goes deeper than that. When Daboll went to Taylor, he said, we're going to Tyrod because he gives us the best chance to win. Yet he coached the game at the end not to win. It goes deeper than this. They don't want the veto. They don't want the smoke. They want him out of out of here. Tyrod gets an opportunity to play a little bit, show he could still play. He signs with another team. Daboll gets his loss. DeVito goes away, and they stick with Jones or draft a quarterback. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on. Mason Crosby's not hitting a field goal from 55 yards.
It sounds like what you're actually saying is we can't manipulate Tommy DeVito because Tommy DeVito is going to want to win.
Bingo.
Because he's Tommy DeVito.
Well,
whereas Tyrod Taylor, who I've known for years, I can say, hey, T, just throw this one in the dirt.
You guys are
no. That's not what happened.
That's what it sounds like
No,
you're
because
intimating.
What really is happening, though, and if you've watched enough Tyrod Taylor, you know, Tyrod Taylor gives you the best chance in tight games to lose.
Oh, God.
So, Giant fans, don't worry. Even if you're close against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday, Brian Daboll will make sure you lose and will make sure you get the best draft pick possible. I think what's happened, unfortunately, with fans over the last 10 years is we've all lost our minds.
Lost your damn minds,
We've
Evan.
lost our minds. And I admit, Tiki, there are days, there are moments in which I've lost my mind. But we have lost our mind to the point in society where fans are now starting to convince themselves that coaches think like them. They don't. We talked about this yesterday and a lot throughout this week. I get it. There are fans that would rather see their team lose for a draft pick, to the point where coaches and players are asked about this week. They've been asked about it all week long. Ron Rivera was asked about it the other day. Hey, what do you say to the Commander fan that thinks they're better off losing? We get why fans think that way. But Sean's mind and some fans' minds are so, poisoned. They actually think that the coach themselves, who does not have as safe a job security as one may think. I think Brian's back, obviously. I'm not suggesting he's going to be fired, but he does not have ironclad job security. I've been here for 17 years. I would not come on the radio and purposely lose thinking I'm safe enough to tank purposely.
Then how could he think Mason Crosby was going to hit a field goal from north of 50? He never does.
Then criticize that play call.
Right.
We have. I am criticizing it. I'm telling you what. Because I don't think Daboll's a bad coach. I don't think he's an idiot. That's exactly why I'm criticizing the play call. I'm criticizing the play call because I think it's purposeful. I think he handed to Saquon in that spot because he knows, hey, Saquon breaks one, we win the game. But he's likely to get tired. We'll leave it up at Crosby's hands. He doesn't make those. He doesn't make those field goals. The track record's there.
Your call's next, 877-337-6666. A very special Friday appearance from the great Joe Beningo. His thoughts on Jets-Patriots as we get closer to the final game of the regular season. I've laid out the case throughout the week, and I'll tell you again today, I want this game badly on Sunday between the Jets and Patriots, including what's on the line in Jets-Patriots. Because I don't think people realize there is a lot on the line. I'll explain what I think's out there coming up. And like I mentioned, Joe will join us coming up at 4 o'clock. We'll make our NFL picks later on in the show, and we'll get you set for the final weekend of this NFL season where 12 of the 16 games have some kind of playoff implication.